We were hoping to learn more about Triumph's new Speed Triple 1200RR after the British brand dropped a teaser for the Faird Roadster last week. Instead, we've received teaser images for a different new Triumph model we've been anticipating. The Triumph Tiger Sport 660. Triumph sent us photos of a prototype Tiger Sport 660, the second model to make use of the platform introduced with the Trident. The Tiger Sport 660 will step into what Triumph calls the middleweight adventure sports category, a class that includes the likes of the Kawasaki Versys 650, Suzuki V-Strom 650, or the not available in America Yamaha Tracer 7. Like these competitors, the Tiger Sport 660 is what we'd traditionally call a sport tourer, but with some ADV influences. The Trident won our recent middleweight nakeds shootout, which means the Tiger Sport 660 may present a big threat to its competition. Apart from the images and the model's name, Triumph didn't provide much information about the Tiger Sport 660, leaving us to closely examine the photographs for details. The engine is a 660cc liquid-cooled VOHC inline triple, similar to the motor in the Trident, which traces its lineage back to the 675cc engine of the 2007 Street Triple. On the Trident, the engine claims 80 horsepower at 10,250 rpm and 47.0 pounds-foot at 6,250 rpm, with 90% of the torque available at 3,600 rpm. We had it measured at 72.3 horsepower and 42.8 pounds-foot on the MotoGP Works dyno. We don't expect the Tiger Sport to veer too far from the Roadster on this front. The Trident's switchable ride modes and traction control system will likely return, while John Burns is hoping the Tiger Sport 660 will add cruise control. With more of an adventure bent and a new tail with a raised pillion seat and passenger grab handles, we expected a different subframe on the Tiger Sport. On close inspection, however, it appears the frame and subframe may be the same as on the Trident, but with different side plates covering the lower portion. The swing arm, 5-spoke cast wheels and Michelin 5 tires appear to be unchanged from the Trident. The fork appears to be the same 41mm inverted Showa unit from the Trident. We expect it will have longer travel than on the Roadster, and judging from how high the outer fork tube sits relative to the tire, that seems to be the case. The rear suspension likewise looks similar to the preload adjustable Showa monoshock of the Trident. The Nissin brakes also appear to be the same as on the Trident. The bodywork is new, with a front fairing, windscreen and twin headlights. The camouflage obscures some of the shapes, but you can see some similarities to Triumph's old Tiger 1050 Sport. It's difficult to make out the shape of the fuel tank with the additional bodywork, but we expect it will be larger than the Trident's 3.7-gallon tank. Unlike the larger Tiger models in Triumph's lineup, the radiator shrouds are separate from the rest of the bodywork, with a visible gap behind the LED turn signals. As a sport touring model, the Tiger Sport 660 should offer more relaxed ergonomics. The handlebar appears similar to the Trident's, but it sits on a riser for a more upright riding position. The foot pegs are also slightly ahead of where they are positioned on the Trident. One of the supplied photos shows the Tiger Sport equipped with panniers. They don't match any luggage in Triumph's existing catalog, and we'll have to see if they'll be sold as an optional accessory or if Triumph will offer a GT version. Triumph says it has been testing the final prototype of the Tiger Sport 660, meaning we can expect the final production version to be revealed in the fall as a 2022 model. Those of you hoping for a more off-road capable model will have to be patient, as Triumph is expected to add a full-on adventure model later. 2022 Triumph Tiger 660 Sport Prototype First Look Tease. While not as fun as authentic spy photos, these photos of a Triumph Tiger 660 Sport prototype are still worth a look. Here's what we think we can deduct from examining the images and the model name. Here's what a Triumph Motorcycle America Public Relations Manager Gina D'Ambrosio tells us about the photos. Triumph has been testing the final prototype of the new Tiger Sport 660 that is set to bring triple-engine performance advantages to the middleweight adventure sports category. No additional information will be shared at this time. We got a Triumph Tiger Sport 850 street-oriented adventure bike, as well as a Triumph Trident 660 retro-tinged street bike. Looking at the prototype Triumph Tiger 660 Sport, it doesn't take long to figure out that it is definitely a street-focused motorcycle with longish travel ADV suspension. As Triumph calls it, middleweight adventure sports. That's the same 660 triple found in the new Triumph Trident 660. That motor is based on the old Triumph Street Triple 675mm, and it puts out good power in the Trident chassis. We expect this version of the venerable triple will be tuned for a bit more torque to reflect its ADV styling. It's a bit more difficult to determine the parentage of the Tiger 660 Sport's frame. The swing arm on the Tiger 660 Sport is definitely not the same as on the Trident 660 or the Tiger 850 Sport. However, the frame looks like it may be the same or closely related to the Trident 660 frame. The frame is entirely unrelated to the Tiger 850 Sport. The inverted Showa fork on the Tiger 660 Sport is slightly different than the Trident's fork. They're close, but not the same. The Tiger 660 Sport has more wheel clearance, front and back, so it almost certainly has longer travel suspension. The foot pegs are mounted farther forward on the Tiger 660 Sport than on the Trident 660. That's in line with a conversion for sport to ADV. Michelin Road 5 tires are mounted to the Tiger 660 Sport, the same rubber used on the Trident 660. That's much more street-oriented than the Michelin and Aki Adventure tires on the Tiger 850 Sport. The Tiger 850 Sport has a 19-inch front wheel, while the Tiger 660 Sport has a pure street 17-inch front wheel. The Nissin brake calipers look to be the same on both 660s. The Triumph Tiger 850 Sport has Brembo's units. There are integrated slots for mounting panniers on the Triumph Tiger 660 Sport. Further, one of the photos shows panniers installed. Let's go on a trip.